In this last episode of Let's Talk, Chris Moser talks about the documentary that we are working on together called America's Other Irish. As we come to the close of our interview, what I normally like to ask my guests is there anything I didn't give you a chance to say that you'd like to say? So is there anything you'd like to say that I haven't given you the opportunity to talk about at this point?
Well, we haven't talked about the project that you and I are working on together, that we're calling America's Other Irish, which is projected, if we were able to raise the funds and produce it, to be a 1 hour documentary with ancillary digital media components as well, exploring the influence that the Ulster-Scots in Ireland and their cousins and descendants, the Scotch-Irish, or if you prefer Scots-Irish in America, have had on our society's democratic traditions and values and conflicts, for better or for worse. We're not going to whitewash it, and that's so important now, again, to draw attention to democracy and the development of democracy, of democratic traditions. I think it's all the more important right now because we're seeing democracy under such threat and authoritarianism on the rise.
And what key features are there within that story that you think would appeal to the current audiences that we see, especially as there is this kind of impact on immigrants today?
Well, just on, I mean, there's so many issues having to do with democracy that we could talk about, but we're running out of time. And so, just focusing on the immigration issue in America, the Ulster-Scots, I often say, were the first least wanted when the first great wave of them, led by a pastor named James McGregor, hit the shores of Boston and arrived. Those people were scorned as those ignorant, dirty, uncouth Irish when they were, nothing of the sort. They were educated, middle-class Presbyterian people, and so some of that continued to go on. But then, if you fast forward into the mid 19th century, when the famine Irish started arriving in this country, many Americans, including many descendants of those Ulster-Scots, joined in the kind of nativist xenophobia that manifested itself in really ugly prejudice against these famine Irish arriving, and now you see the descendants famine Irish now being very comfortable and totally mainstreamed and streamed into American culture, demonstrating that same, along with all kinds of other, all other white and European descended Americans, displaying that same kind of bigotry toward immigrants today. And so it's this, unfortunately, never-ending cycle. But we can, if we look back in history, that's a value of history. If we look back and see that it's happened before and why that has happened, and also look, as we're going to do, at in whose interest was it to foster and foment that kind of prejudice, whose interest it was throughout history and today to divide ordinary working class people against each other, using their exploiting their ethnic and racial and religious prejudices to discourage them from getting together and demanding justice together.
Brilliant. Well, look, Chris, thank you very much for spending this time with me to do this talk, and I think it's very enlightening what you've had to say today. And I'm looking forward to again having another opportunity to talk with you in the not too distant future. So thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, George. Thank you so much for wanting to do it.
We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel and check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.